What's up, everyone? It's Wolfgang back with another Dorkfish review, and today we're getting after it with the Suicide Squad Arkham Suit release Mafex Joker. Let's jump into it, guys. Alright, and as always, guys, the first thing I'm going to jump into is going to be accessories. And the first thing we're going to talk about, of course, is the hands. So he actually has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of hands, an astronomical amount for any release of figures. I really like the amount of options and the fact that there is difference in variety in these hands. So that being said, we're going to start. You've got the fisted hands that are on the figure in package. Next, you have these kind of weapon holding hands. There we go, get nice and focused. Then you have, and it's for both sides, they actually kind of mirror, so you actually get a little bit of difference, but they're basically the same across each hand, kind of sort of. So then on next is going to be like a trigger pulling, a gun holding hand for each side, and just for reasons, got more of a stylized hand right here. Let's see if I can get that on camera for you. And then a flat kind of a little more open palm hand, right? And that's the same thing across the board with each of them, right? Of course, I like the details on them, as much detail as they can get, which is the suit of cards across the knuckles on his hand, and the smiles across every one of the hands, and they are very cleanly done. Focus on it. Close enough. Yeah, it's pretty slick for the size and the detail. I mean, that looks very, very well done. So kudos to them on that. From an aesthetic standpoint, it looks fantastic. But yeah, that's your set of hands. And then we also come with the cane, like in the movie. Very basic, kind of a purple plastic with a little bit of gold, right? And the silver around the bottom. So pretty basic there. Then we have the gun. Now this one I want to use both hands, but you see, you've got the plastic. It's all plastic, one piece. Mezco is the only line I can think of. Maybe it's one other line I can think of where they have the functioning gun parts, but otherwise just one solid piece. But you know, a nice mixture of purple and gold and white across it, so that way you can see on both sides, and then the silver right there where the unload chamber is for it. I mean, very, very, very well. Even a little whole spec, we might be able to. I'll play with it and see if you can get some of the Mezco gun effects in there. It might be worth a try, but very, very well done detail wise. And then the last thing you have is 2 heads. Of course, the standard head, which we have in package, which we'll look at soon, but first we have the Screaming Leto head. As far as the tattoos go, they're on there to clean. The marks are on him clean. The hair has a nice little wash over it. The mouth is not horrible. Of course, with the right angle lighting, you know, it looks just like a mouth should, but I mean, I'm not a fan of this face. I mean, technically, it's good. It looks like Leto to me. Eyes are there. The painting's perfect. There's no bleeding. Everything looks really well done, but just not my favorite head. I actually more so prefer the head we came with in package, which is this very stern look. So we bring him closer. Bring him a little more closer. But yeah, this head, very well done. Hair, of course, has the same wash. Very, very nicely done. Very happy with it. All right, and aesthetic wise, I think this figure turned out pretty good in most cases. There's some areas that I found, even with other Mafex figures I own, that I guess at this point in the game they were working on, and some of their later releases they've come to fix. So I'm happy about that. But as far as this figure goes, there's some things that are good and some things not so much. There you go. Alright, so looking at it aesthetically, the first thing we're going to talk about, of course, the big thing is the jacket. Detail wise, I mean, look at the detail. I think they nailed it, even in most of the joints, like getting in there, you can still see the details even in the joints of the jacket. Drop down and you see the shoulder. So for the most part, you still have the details there, which is very nice, aesthetically speaking. The jacket looks great. It's a little more malleable, so you have a little bit of play, which is okay. You know, it's not anything different from what they did with their Bane from The Dark Knight Rises, which I liked. So I just wish we would have got arm options like with Bane. We could have just had the arms with no jacket. That would have been cool. Actually, it's probably the only critique I have about that is I liked arms without the jacket, so that way you could just take the jacket off. But we didn't get that, so it is what it is. But jacket-wise, it's not bad. The hairs we talked about, really good. The face, I think, is fairly well done. You know, you've got the tattoos there. Tattoo-wise, you have the arms do pop out, just like the Mafex Bane, by the way. So, but tattoo-wise, smiling face, it looks like a Cheshire cat grin, is really what it looks like. I wouldn't be surprised if that was what it was inspired by. His name across his ribs, the gesture here, ha-ha-has, and the cards on the neck, which right here seems to fit perfectly, but if you move it any other way, it's awkward. So I'm not a fan of the card thing right there. I mean, I know they had to do something, like right here is perfect, just about, or as perfect as you're gonna get. So I know they had to do something, but it was, I mean, it's just, that's a damn if you do, damn if you don't situation. So, but aesthetically speaking, you got the arc on the legs, you've got the wrinkling in the pants. Proportionately, he doesn't look, at least from my recollection, he doesn't look too off. So I think aesthetically speaking, especially the jacket part, he looks pretty well on point. So that part, for the most part, I can't complain. You know, the musculature is all there. Yeah, I mean, I think he looks pretty spot on for the most part. There's not a lot to complain about, in my opinion. I mean, the tattoos, forgetting the detail, and especially the smiling face on the hands, just very well done. Very happy with that. All right, in articulation, you can look up this far, down here, and then this far with the neck. Good range. You've got the bobble. Of course, this is a combination with the neck and head. You can get some really good posing done. Of course, you can turn the head, right? So you can do most of what you want with that. Shoulders are a little limited because of the jacket. If it was more like the Bane like we talked about, with the exchangeable arms, you could flip the arms 360, but otherwise with the jacket you have to be very careful you pop the arms out of joint. Otherwise you can get a little more in a T-pose, but you just have an ugly exposure underneath, so you have to be careful with angling on your pictures. You've got a quasi bicep, and this has to go back to with the way the jacket's set up and the way the bicep's set up. Quasi, and it was meant to hide the articulation. I'm not a fan of it. Just give him bicep swivel. Just give him a bicep swivel, it's fine. Double jointed elbows, a little more than 90, and it's a little flat for me, so, right? You've got the kind of the same kind of ball hinges in the wrists that you would see in like a Mezco or an SH Figure Arts. So, I mean, he can do his thing and then twist, right? You have torso articulation here. He can go a good deal forward and a good deal back. So technical difficulties, but or the torso articulation or upper or torso articulation, besides the fact that it's a ball joint that likes to pop out easily, and this has to do with the range of motion of what you get based off the jacket. Take the jacket off, you have a better range of motion with the torso than you do with it on, obviously, because it is a thicker plastic material. But that being said, you've got a pretty decent hip articulation. See the gyrating there that I'm doing. You can move it side to side. Of course, you can turn it, right? Leg-wise, you've got the drop-down hips. So it's a little more minimal than normal, but you do have it. You can kick out with it drop down about that far. Probably the second ugliest joint. So the two ugliest joints on it are the shoulders and the knees. So looking at the knee, so you see it's almost another color. Maybe I should have talked about this in the aesthetic, but I'm choosing to pick on it now. So, I mean, you lose, that whole cut causes it to lose the flow of clothing, the natural look. and the color is just weird. So, not my thing. But otherwise, you do get about 90 degrees, if not a little more. So, easily can have him stepping on something or holding a position. You have the same kind of peg for the ankle joint. And if you look very carefully, it's hard to see, but there's an actual peg joint that goes in there. So it kind of gives you a little more extra range of motion. But otherwise, you get down up that far. You have the articulation here, the boom, and then ugly toe joints, which I hate. I don't know why I do toe joints. I'm kind of sick of seeing toe. See, like there's a difference too, just so you can see the difference in the hip drop. How much difference you got there. So, in range. But I don't really care for toe joints. I don't understand them. I've never had one and it did anything good for me, whether it be posing, holding a pose, or just aesthetically they don't look good. I just am not a fan of them. That's just me. But it is what it is. Some people like them. A lot of companies use them. So, I don't know. Alright. All that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into it. Alright, so now we're going to jump into size comparisons. Alright, so size comparison wise, I pulled out a few different figures for this one. The first being the Collect and Connect Classic Bane. Get you kind of a bigger figure so you can kind of see what it looks like next to a big one. I do have the Mezco Deathstroke, the classic colored one. Kind of, since they were already building towards the Legion of Doom at the end of Justice League, or Dawn of Justice? Yeah, it was Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, right? So, there's those two. Then I have a custom Nightwing. We can go next to him. And for film purposes, for that canon world, I have a Batman v Superman Mezco Batman right here. Scale wise, actually not bad. I kind of like the scale of him next to the Batman. We'll take this out the way. I kind of like the scale. Let me know what you think, but I think they kind of fit nicely. So, and a couple more fun ones I thought would be to compare it against another Mafex. So I have the Mafex Dark Knight Heath Ledger's Joker. Oh, boom. So there they are next to each other. And then just for fun comparisons from the other side, especially considering we found out he's probably returning to the MCU. Please God, let William Dafoe go into the MCU. The Spider-Man 1 Green Goblin. And again, not bad scaling, not bad sizes, a little taller than most of them, but I like it. So that is the size comparison. Alright, so overall, I like to say he's an interesting figure. There's a lot about him to like, and there's some things about him not to like. As far as DCU fan goes, if you're a huge Leto fan, if you like this look, if you're a big Joker fan, I would suggest this figure off the bat. Go ahead and get him in your collection. Right now, even though it's a little older release, I've been able to see him online run for around 100. So he's a good price right now, I think, for Mafex figures, considering some of the other really, really good ones like Dark Knight Returns and so forth are way higher than that. So yeah, that being said, I'm going to bring this to an end. I do hope you've liked it. If so, share, subscribe, comment down below. Who's your favorite Joker? What's your favorite Joker figure? I would love to know which one and why on that. All that being said, guys, I'm going to bring this to the end. So until next time, deuces.
Hello, William Dusky of Dusky Till Dawn and Night of the Living Geeks.
Yeah, that's me.
Is this your shout out? It's a nice one.
I guess that's mine.
Take it.
I'm gonna go now.
What are you laughing at, loser?